Hello, folks, and welcome to another round of the Daily Minute. Tuesdays are usually days that I'm talking with our global staff around the world in the morning, getting caught up on what's going on. So just want to run some of that stuff by you. Just for some of those of you who don't know some of the things that we do, our global tech centers. It's a pretty cool setup for helping our members figure out how they can get into and do business more efficiently, effectively, with tools and resources they might not otherwise get if they had to go start out on their own. So you can get office space, showroom demo space. We do proxy hires for you, being able to actually hire employees, be able to put them on a payroll, take care of all the taxes and other things, and you just pay us in US dollars. We have field service teams. We have products like market access and sales service, which are called Moz program, where we actually help you find leads that are out in the area because we're out talking with major customers and end users and relay that information back to help you from a sales effort standpoint. We have HR services, warehousing services in some locations. So a lot of things available at our global tech centers. You want more information on that, just go to amtonline.org. Just take a look at our website. There's a pull down for growing your business, and in that you'll see global services. Take a look at all of those. So a little bit of some of the guys from around the country, around the world. China, the service teams out there staying really, really active, of course, as people have a difficult time flying internationally. So they're getting pretty busy there. From those standpoint, they're much more back to normal in China, except in Beijing. They had a small outbreak a couple of weeks ago. And actually, they moved really fast, clamped down things in the city. They did their tracking that they can do well over there. Feel a little bit less intrusive than we would rather be here, but it works for them. They could figure out what it was, close off certain parts of the city, and control some of the travel, which has now taken care of the problem. Kind of getting back to normal then after they get past that. So they've proved efficient at being able to handle small outbreaks. One of their companies there, BYD, Build Your Dreams, crossing over to our guys down in Brazil, actually. There's BYD's putting some other big investments, extending the amount of capacity output they're doing out of their electronic vehicle bus unit. So more and more, as we were talking about just yesterday, the day before, a lot going on in the EV space. India, obviously they had some geopolitical things going on with, speaking of China, border dispute topic that's kind of still causing some issues in the marketplace. Recently, 50 Chinese apps were basically banned inside of India, including WeChat, which a lot of the folks use. And so things still a little bit escalated there and a little bit of back and forth from a commerce standpoint. On 7/1, July 1st, some of the restrictions from a Corona standpoint are supposed to be being backed off. Obviously, they still have some issues like everybody else with hotspots, and then cordoned off and changed some of the hours in certain areas, but for the most part, are still moving forward. Having some resource issues like everybody at this point, being able to kind of get supply chain things moving in the way they need to move. And it's actually put a pretty big movement going on in India as they reflect on some of the issues, not only the geopolitical ones I mentioned, but also the supply chain issues. They're also, like many other places, doing a lot to reshore or bring back manufacturing so they can be a little bit more self-contained inside of India. So a lot more investment going into that area, which, again, depending on where they're pulling it from, should help our folks there. Mexico, down in the Monterrey area, that happens to be one of the states that also has seen a small increase in numbers percentage-wise, but still an increase, some new restrictions in that area. But I think for the most part, again, most manufacturing is moving along reasonably well. Japanese, NIDIC just added some pretty large investments into their EV production, again, back to this electronic vehicle issue, so moving that into Mexico. And also, I mentioned previously at one of our discussions that on July 1st, USMCA goes into full effect. And just a few things, the original NAFTA came in 27 years ago. And in those 27 years, they actually went to take a look at trade, and there's been a 9% per year expanded trade since NAFTA came in. 6.5% of that was increased imports into Mexico. So it's kind of really work to drive up some of the things that are happening from overall trade. So just some specs and facts on that. Switching over to Brazil, they've got the worst scenario when it comes to increased cases. They also have a big number of recoveries, but a lot of cases. And so the quarantines are going to be extended there, which is going to impact, especially in the area where our folks have been in Sorocaba. because of that, again, their government, like other governments, are doing big investments in infrastructure, $50 billion for roads, rails, and mining, all to be spent between 2020 and 2022. So a lot of money going in. From the standpoint of one of the players that's big in the market there, Embraer. Embraer is partnered with GRV. GRV is a software manufacturer. An interesting combination. They're looking at what they can do driving some of the digital manufacturing technologies into their plants and kind of upscaling some of these new transformative technologies. GRV software manufacturer, very big on MT Connect. And so they've been great proponents of MT Connect, and so MT Connect will be a key part of what they're doing as they move with Embraer to automate and up tech their facilities, which would be interesting to watch and see. Over in Europe, unfortunately, the U.S. became persona non grata for travel. We didn't make the top list of countries. They picked 14 countries it's okay to be internationally traveling into Europe. U.S. isn't one of those, so for now, not going to be doing any business over there real quick. They're looking at also spending billions on infrastructure plans, just trying to spur up what's going to be going on as they start pulling back from a lot of these work stoppages and shortages of being able to kind of move supplies through and other things to get the economy going. So big money being spent there, big money being spent in Brazil, big money being spent in China, a lot of infrastructure money being spent. Look for those opportunities. Britain's also talked about creating a New Deal. So it's Boris's version of our old New Deal. And so that's really, again, for those guys, the Brits spending a lot of money on construction projects and environmentally based projects. And so look for that to kind of be an uptick in what they do for needing equipment. One last quick commercial for you. IMTS Spark, I've talked about it a lot. The brochure with all the details in it is going to be getting sent out to the exhibitors tomorrow. And so all the packages, how it's structured, all the detail by every package so you can see what it is, how you can use it, where it can help out your business. Look for that to be sent out tomorrow morning. It's going to be going to all exhibitors for IMTS. So with that, thank you very much. Went a little bit over time. We'll see you again tomorrow.